Alright folks, now this is the BZ-58, the Tier 7 normal Chinese rocket heavy tank. So we are somewhat familiar with this chassis because we already covered the Tier 9 version of this tank, the BZ-58-2, with a stolen Polish turret from the 50TP, but it doesn't have rocket booster in the back, just have a couple of toolboxes in their place, but it is practically the same hull. So either the Tier 7 chassis is pretty good to be used on a Tier 9, or the Tier 9 sucks, like a Lorraine 50T in a sense. The hull armor on that thing is garbage, but looks pretty nice. The commander cupola is small, loader cupola is practically non-existent. The only downside I could see is the flat cheeks next to a mantlet. Yeah, that is kind of flat. If it's 250, then it's not half bad, but if it's close to 220 or so, 200, then you'll get pinned from gold shell. So it is not invulnerable like the T-29's turret, practically, but it's at Tier 7, so still pretty good. Yeah, it has gun depression too, so surprisingly all the Chinese rocket heavy tanks have about 10 degrees of gun depression. Couple that with good upper plate armor, and you have very good hull down vehicles, right? Especially without a commander cupola weak spot. Oh god. Freaking hull down meta, Jesus, all the time. Yeah. But yeah, the hull looks somewhat familiar. Kinda reminds me of a Chieftain hull, just a little bit wider, right? That is surprising. Right, you have the driver in the middle, the little wedge circular shape, I guess, of the beak, but looks like a Chieftain hull in the front. Large turret with lots of ammo space, stowage space in the back, likely for counterweight, but this thing only has a 100mm compared to the Tier 9 version with a 130, so obviously at Tier 7 you cannot have a 130, that would be way too good. Freaking one-shots Shermans, oh god. It's at Tier 7, so this could be the next T-29 for that matter, which is pretty good. But yeah, looks like a Chieftain hull at the front. Little bit, right? Ugh, that's nice, but Dushka on top. Actual turret is right here, not including the extra stowage space in the back. So make sure you turn on your silhouette for your tank outline. Don't shoot at here, otherwise it does nothing. But let's take a look at the stats. So 100mm, 195mm of pen, so it's about the same as the 105 on the T-29, about the same alpha as well. Gold shell is also about the same, 240. Compared to the 250-ish APCR on the T-29, so pretty good. And 50 for high explosive, more alpha obviously. Reload time is 10.5 without a 100% crew, so about 10 at max for the crew training. Oh, that's actually pretty good. That's better than the T-29 after all the nerf. So aim time, not half bad. Accuracy as expected, 0.42. It's the same with the Tier 7, Tier 8, Tier 9, all have garbage accuracy, but it's okay. 10 degrees gun depression, 20 elevation, very good. Only 36 rounds of the 100mm, so that might be the main weak spot. Don't spam too much shells. The T-29 has like what, 50 rounds, 60 rounds or something of the 105, so this has a lot less for you to spam all the shells. So carry all the gold in the world. Fits all the crews, so all commander, gunner, driver, loader, the same as the Tier 8, Tier 9, Tier 10, all the same. Top speed of 35, reverse of 12, boosting into 53, and has only 13.6 horsepower per turn ratio. That is practically the same as the T-29. I have it right here. T-29 with vents and rammer, I have about 12 28.3 horsepower per ton ratio and 35 kilometers per hour top speed. I did not click there. Go away. Yeah, it's about the same speed. That is surprising. Traverse is also the same. About 26 for the hull. 26.7. Wow. I mean, they nerfed the gun on the 105. So accuracy 0.37. That's because of field modification and other stuff, but reloads at 10.85, even with a rammer. Oh, God, what have they done to you? Jesus. I mean, it's 10.5 without a rammer and without a 100% crew. So this thing has better DPM. Only downside is 36 rounds. Compared to what? 63? Yeah, a lot more ammo on the T29, but maybe the hull armor is better. It's well sloped, 70, right? It's very well sloped. Turret traverse, 28. 3 charges of the rocket booster, so the last or the least out of all of them. So 3 charge for tier 7, 4 charge for tier 8, 5 charge for tier 9, and 6 charge for tier 10. So that's how the rocket boosters work. They have the same boost duration and charge time, but just have 1 charge less compared to tier 8. The health is about average, a little bit below average for a tier 7 heavy, but it's alright. I mean, you're not comparing it to a Tiger 1's health, so it's average. 70 at the hull front, 70 at the hull sides, 50 at the rear. It's well sloped. The only downside to that is artillery shells. Yeah, artillery shell does not care about your sloping. They care about your thickness. So, alright, turret armor is 220 at the front, 90 at the sides, 60 at the rear. So 220 is alright for tier 7. It is pretty good. The main downside to this thing is right here. The cheeks, which are flat. Yeah, those are pretty flat. So gold shell will go through unless you wiggle the turret about, but commander cupola is small, loader cupola non-existent, and it has gun depression, so you won't see them all the time. So it will like something like this. So give it a little bit of an angling to the cheeks, which is not bad, but it is debatable if it's better than the T29's turret. Very much debatable, but T29's turret is the same turret on the T30, right? T30 is a tier 9 version. Originally, it was tier 10 instead of putting down to tier 9. Oh, old history. 350 meters of view range. God, that sucks, but it's at tier 7, so has the same view range as the tier 8 on the BZ-166 that we covered yesterday. Wonderful. Radio, a little bit below average, but 600 is alright. So, ooh, stock turret with the 85mm that could be found on the T34-1s or -2s, but oh god, or the WZ-132s or 131s. Commander cupola is big, looks like a Russian-esque design of a turret with a mantlet. So stock turret doesn't look the best. Yeah, it doesn't look that great. I mean, kind of a larger IS turret, somewhat, right? Like a fatter IS turret with the same size cupola on top, but yeah, okay. 60 rounds of the 85mm. This is not the 100, so don't be fooled. Yeah, you carry 60 of a smaller caliber. So, shell velocity is okay, I guess. Low tier is kind of slow, only 800 meters per second. Gold shell is about 1,000, but for just 220 millimeters of pin, you're paying more by like what? Oh, more than like 15 times more or something. Or 13 times more of the price. Oh gosh. So yeah, quickly upgrade your gun if you can, but I think the first upgrade is likely the turret because how weak the commander cupola is. You can use the 85, you just cannot take the hits with gun depression. So mount the better turret first, or research the better turret. But here is the actual stats. We have the 85 for the stock turret, 85 for the upgraded turret, and upgraded turret with the 100. So yeah, 85 is not that good compared to the 100, obviously, but you have to research all the stuff. So research defense first, and then offense. Always research the turret first for a heavy tank, and research the gun first on a tank destroyer, vice versa, yada yada. 10 degrees of gun depression. You have a lot faster turret traverse for a smaller or the stock turret compared to the upgraded turret, so it turns a lot faster, but has no armor. Armor is only 170 at the front for the stock turret, oof, compared to 220, and it has more weak spots, obviously. DPM is increased with upgrade to the turret, obviously, and the 85 and the 100 has not that much difference in terms of DPM, so always use the higher pen because less reliant on gold shell. Accuracy is not as good, aim time is not as good as expected out of a larger caliber of a gun, but whatever. Alright, weighs more by half a ton for the better turret. And the gun also weighs half a ton, almost. Alright. What the hell is that? Boosting force? I have no idea what the hell that number is. Alright. That's engine power, horsepower per ton ratio. Wait. Do you get more horsepower per ton ratio out of the boost when you upgrade the turret? That doesn't make sense. Alright, whatever. I think it's just stock. They didn't upgrade the engine or something. So all of these is just stock. And this is just upgraded, but with the 85. So that's why you upgraded the engine. Therefore you get better boost. Yada yada. Somehow that works. The rockets are outside of the engine, right? Fine, whatever. So horsepower per ton ratio is about 13.6, which is not bad compared to the T29. Top speed of 35. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'll take it. Hull traverse gets a little bit faster for the better tracks, as expected. 3 charges of the rockets, lasting 10 seconds each. View range gets a little bit better, but 350 is still kind of crap. I think the T29 has like what, 370 base for the view range on the upgraded turret. 370, yep, and it's pretty thick, other than the commander cupola, but the commander cupola is small on the T29, so it is a breakthrough heavy tank. The T29 is a assault heavy tank. There's no difference at low tier, or only starting the difference on tier 9 and tier 10, so technically no difference, but whatever. Nothing out of the ordinary here, but upgrade the engine to get to the tier 8, the BZ-166 that we covered yesterday with the ruffle chip, upper plate, but I think you will want the tracks first. That allows you to put equipment sometimes, and then get to the better turret, and then upgrade the engine. You could work the stock gun, but how much is the weight difference between the guns? About half a ton, so I wonder if the tracks could carry half a ton worth of weight. So before you do anything, I forgot to mention this tip, but when you're playing with the video games, always add the vehicles to comparison, and when you do that, you can test out if your stock configuration could support all your tracks and other stuff. So you can play around with the equipment, you can play around with your configuration, and when you do that, you can see if you can carry the turret or the gun. So as you can see, when you mouse over the turret, the actual tracks are highlighted, which shows that you need to research the tracks before you can mount the turret. So that's why it's highlighted and other stuff. So you have to research the tracks first to mount the gun. So this is a very handy tool to see if you need the tracks before you need the gun or the radio or the engine. So surprisingly, the engine does not need the tracks. It does not weigh as much. It weighs the same, so you don't need the tracks. But if you want the turret, if you want the gun, you could research it, you could buy it, but you cannot mount it unless you have the tracks. So small pro tip, but whatever. So this thing, yeah, definitely the turret first, I think, if you can. Otherwise, the track first, then the turret, maybe the gun or the engine, one of which, but yeah, okay. So let's talk equipments. I think with 13.5, 13.6 horsepower per ton ratio, it is likely the same as a T29. So you don't have that much speed in terms of top speed or horsepower per ton ratio, I guess. How much does the IS have in terms of horsepower per ton? 15! Yeah, you don't have that. So might as well go with vents. Can you put vertical stabilizer? I doubt it. It's at tier 7, so you cannot put vertical stabilizer. You could put a rammer, which is obvious. So vents, rammer, and what the hell else? Optics? I mean, view range is kind of baloney. Do you go with optics or do you go with turbocharger on this thing? Turbocharger helps out with the rocket boosting, but you only have 3 charges, so it's not like you're using it all the time. Crikey. You could go with another firepower addition, like better accuracy for 0.4, or better aim time with enhanced gun lane drive, like what I did with the IS tanks. So they have garbage aim time, garbage accuracy. Yeah, might as well do with better aim time or better accuracy. I go with better aim time. Almost always. Yeah, I already have garbage accuracy. I already have 0.44 accuracy. Might as well go with better aim time. So, yeah, likely I would say the same as the T29, except you go with the enhanced gun lane drive for better aim time. But let's take a look at field modification. They're all about the same, so we'll use the breakthrough heavy tank, but they're all the same. So always choose the better terrain resistance at the cost of track durability, but having terrain resistance gives you better effective hull traverse, so I would prefer this one. Suspension durability is debatable, but if you have repair skill, then that doesn't matter that much, right? That doesn't matter that much. Accuracy or aim time, the good old question of which one is better, accuracy or aim time on this thing. Ooh, it already has garbage accuracy, but it's a little bit better than the 122s. Now aim time is 2.5, 2.6 seconds or so. 2.6. So, oh, this is a heavy toss-up. Vents will help, obviously. Vents will help out with everything, but not that much. I would say better aim time. This is a frontline vehicle, like with the later BZ-166 or 68s or 75s, whatever. So all of these are in your face with gun depression and better turret armor and upper plate armor. So you are very close. If you're close, you just want better aim time than better accuracy. You're practically hitting a barn at that point, right? So better aim time would be a lot more effective. So I would choose better aim time. I wonder what the hell did I choose for the T29? Let's see. Did I choose better aim time or better accuracy? I chose better accuracy. But then again, yeah, up to 2.6, even with the decrease to aim speed. That's still decent, right? But I have 0.37 accuracy, so I can somewhat snipe at that point. Not really, but I could do it. And finally, obviously, go with better view range compared to stun duration. Always better view range, especially with 350 meters of view range. Yeah, better view range at the cost of stun duration, so don't get hit by artillery. But how much would I rate this thing? It doesn't have the Commander Cupola weak spot that we saw on the BZ-166 or the BZ-58-2 from the Polish turret, so not that big of a weak spot, right? But the gun does seem somewhat lacking in terms of ammo, right? Like the ammo doesn't, that's 60 for the 85. The ammo count doesn't seem that good. Only 36 rounds, so you have to make the 100mm work and hit the targets. But I still think it's alright. It's not like only 20 rounds of the 100. That would suck. But other downside to this thing is likely the turret cheeks. It is kind of flat and only 220, so we have to see the actual armor, but otherwise I feel it is a very good contestant to the throne that was originally placed or held by the T-29. So T-29 was a god tier 7 heavy tank, so it will go up to tier 9s and hold its own even with like a stock gun, like a 85mm, 85, like a 90mm or so, or the dinky 76. Ugh. But this turret seems good, other than this cheek right here, these two cheeks. But I cannot complain that much. It's at tier 7. You're going up against a freaking Sherman tank or a KV tank. You'll decimate them, no question about it. So you could see tier 9s, and I think this could hold its own against tier 9s, especially for the hull, which it is used on the BZ-58-2. So I would say 7.5. It is pretty good. Surprisingly, I mean, it doesn't have the large ass commander cupola on the tier 8 version, surprisingly. So I would say 7.5 for now, without seeing the actual armor. I mean, hell, they might increase the armor of the cheeks to like 250, and that would be very good. But yeah, 7.5. Well, there you go, folks. The BZ-58, the normal Chinese rocket heavy tank. So we already have all of them. All of them have HD skins. And did we even get to test the Yo tanks before they come out for last year? I don't think we did, or did we? Just like January blew past, and with the holiday ops and other stuff, nobody cared about the Yo tanks. We didn't even get to test it. And there you go, have the Yo tanks with the spare track system that nobody cared about. I totally forgot if we actually get to test the Yo tanks. So just shove it down our throats, like what they did with the BZ-176, without even testing the rocket boosters. So just take it. So yeah, we could see these at the end of January or beginning of February, but yeah, it's not half bad. All with gun depression, all with freaking large caliber guns. Downside to this vehicle, doesn't have a derp gun, so the derp starts at tier 9, doesn't start at tier 8 or tier 7, so we have to wait. But I'll put a summary of all the Chinese rocket heavy tanks up next. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Pics.